Art in the Age of Solidarity is on display at the Terhune Gallery in the Center for Fine and Performing Arts building at Owens Community College. One of the artists featured is with us right now, Yusuf Lateef. I want to thank you for joining us and start out by asking you your role, your involvement with this exhibition.
Originally, I was working with Shobi Stutz and Paula Baldoni with the gallery as curator. And this was prior to the formation of the Toledo Black Artists Coalition. And as we started to meet and gather, the idea for an exhibition came up, and I was able to offer up this partnership with Owens as one of the first kind of rollouts for the coalition. The coalition is something that really has been here before. This is just a new iteration. There's been quite a bit of history as far as African-American artists here in Toledo, going all the way back to folks like Art Tatum and John Hendricks, who also, there's a couple of portraits of him in the show, actually. So we have a really rich history, and this is a new iteration of that, but also a response to the climate here in 2020 with a lot of the protests. And it all started when one of the artists who's in the show, Paul Verdell, decided to quit his job at the museum after certain neutral statements from the director came out. And so we decided to support him by protesting. And in that, people got together and we started talking and thinking through things. And what we realized is there was a need for outreach and an extension of the activism. What happens? How can we hold these institutions accountable as artists? So that's pretty much how the coalition formed. And we reached out to folks that are our mentors, who have been mentored by folks, artists in the community. And we hope to become a bridge for artists that have yet to kind of come on the scene and share their voices.
So with the launch, Art in the Age of Solidarity, you've got three pieces, and in our pre-interview you shared with me they're collaborative. Let's touch on those.
So the whole process really is collaborative. As curator, it wasn't just me like, hey, put this piece here, put this piece there. It was myself and folks in the coalition, other artists that were coming in and experiencing the space, giving their advice as well. And that's what solidarity is about. It's like coming from all of these different vantage points and places in order to get a particular thing accomplished, and understanding that everyone brings with them a new and different outlook, and it's an opportunity to really share our commonalities. So like when you collaborate, it's giving space to someone else's ideas in order to enhance your own. And so that works not only in like a think tank or incubator type of situation where ideas are flying around, but also in the creation of work as well. It's a partnership and an opportunity for two different mediums even sometimes. Maybe you'll have a sculptor and a painter, or a photographer and a sculptor putting something together. In one instance, I have a sculptural piece. It's a actual Americana type of I don't know what you would call it. It's a sculpture. I didn't necessarily make it, and it's of a boy, and it's like a fisherman. It's one of those things you would see on someone's porch. It's like a horse jockey type of thing, And he's sitting there, and around him are these protest signs, and then right behind him is this circular patterned piece called Power, And it's this idea for me, and the other artists may have other ways of interpreting the piece. Also sitting around him are these photographs that were created at protest sites. And it's like this image is very powerful because here it is. It's almost like the N word, you know, you take it back and you take its power back by using it. And here is this sculptural piece that, you know, in a lot of ways has real derogatory type of presence to it. But here in this context, it's like, no, I'm looking back at you, you know, like, and those in those moments, it's not, you're not only collaborating, but I think it's also saying like, let's have a conversation. And then when the audience gets involved, they're collaborating as well because they're bringing something new to this experience as well. So like when you come into the gallery and you pan around the room, you see all of this color, and then you also see a lot of interactive pieces like that installation. And there's another installation by an artist, Julia Dara, who is using sculptural elements with projection. And so you get this taste of all of these other, you know, these ways of seeing and viewing. And that in a sense is we're sharing this space in a solidarity type of way. It was, you know, the show was, you know, the theme was brought to the attention of the artist, and then the artist may have brought something that they had already made or something that they made specifically for the show. And it was our job as curator and coalition to come together and say, okay, these pieces pair well with this. You know, we allowed these, you know, these different voices to be heard in the same space. So we tried to create some type of harmony, some type of chorus with the work.
In particular, the piece that you touched on with the protest signs, the photographs, the statuette, and then the circular piece that's behind it. It really sounds as if it's all about not only the collaboration, but the relationship between those items and how those items are placed amongst each other. How would you comment on that?
Right. So I'm an art educator, and one of the things I talk to my students about is relationship. And one of the two-dimensional components in art, and I think in music or anything creative, but it will have an idea about value. And value can only be recognized by comparing and contrasting. So something from light to dark. So you have to have these two elements in order to understand the value of what you have. So you can talk about value in regards to two-dimensional, but now it's bringing that word into another frame, and we're talking about value, how we value each other, how we value the things that we have. And when you place things one, you know, next to each other, they start to have that conversation, right? It's always, that's one of the things that we're constantly doing, is comparing and contrasting. And so when these artists collaborate and work together in this way, it gives the audience that opportunity to interact with the work in that way and create something new from their own experience.
Yusuf Lateef, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yusuf Lateef has his artwork on display in a collaborative form at Launch Art in the Age of Solidarity, on display at the Terhune Gallery in the Center for Fine and Performing Arts building at Owens Community College.